Hello and welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena as we get ready to kick off the Power Esports Conference spring season for the Super Smash Bros. Division. We've already been watching games throughout this week, teams going head-to-head to see how they can kickstart this season after an explosive end to the last one. Calling all the action today, my name is Audrey Norris, joined by a new face for the Smash Bros. Side of things, AJ Pepley, as we get to watch two teams who have faced off previously go head-to-head to see who can take home the victory today. That being the Boise State Broncos versus the Nebraska Cornhuskers. An interesting matchup to be watching today as, like we've said before, there is standings this time around. Last season when we were in, it was fresh, new, and we were figuring things out. But now, Boise State currently holding the 6th place standing, 2 wins to 5 losses, having actually a really good season comparatively from the past. These are the first PEC wins in the fall that Boise State has made to accomplish. And overall good progress for them. 1 win off from 5th place, which is Kansas. However, our opponent today is going to be the 4th place, which is Nebraska. Currently 5-2, and overall positive standings against us. However, not without all negatives, although in the Power Esports Conference we're still looking to find some more wins for that win ratio. We do have a special announcement to be able to share, which is that Mata, one of our players, did get the Mountain West Smash Bros. Player of the Year from the Mountain West Conference. So,
round of applause.
An awesome thing to be able to showcase because that just shows all the hard work that went off for these players to be able to play their hearts out in those conferences. But now, the past is in the past, of course, and there is much to see going forward.
Now, looking at the future, Audrey, we have a little bit of good news and a little bit of bad news. What would you prefer to hear first?
That's a tricky question. Give me the bad news.
Okay. Unfortunately, one of our star players from last semester, Melfor, will no longer be joining us this year. Our lovely Bowser player, the anti-Steve, whatever you want to call him, he is no longer with us, but fortunately, we do have some other star players who can take up in his stead. But the good news, well, that's also partially good news, that we also have more players. But the good news is we actually have a new coach for our team. A man by the name of Nate joining us from Bishop Kelly High School. Made them the most successful state in Idaho. And he has 5 years of experience. So that gives our team a lot of stuff to work with. So they have a lot of chances to improve everything they've been trying to work on over the past few years. And it's really exciting to see where they're able to go from here.
And, I'm excited to be able to see this because, a new coach isn't us saying that Coach K has to get out of here.
Well, I never said that.
Well, at least on stage you haven't.
I didn't say that off stage either. Thank you very much.
Well, but regardless, what I do want to call out is the fact that, Coach K created a wonderful foundation for this team here, as we can see both of the coaches figuring out and planning to get ready for this matchup. The big thing right now, I would say, is Coach K, as we've said before, her specialty is not Smash Bros. But something that we have a lot of experience from with Coach Nate is that side of things. So with someone who can put together a team, pull together even without that strategy to bring wins out of a team that have previously not happened, now with that technical experience, I am super fired up to see how this season is going to go for us.
And I do have to appreciate Coach K because she really set a great precedent for making our team have a lot of good communication, a lot of good vibes. I think they are our happiest team out of anyone else we have here. And it's great. Every time I go talk to our players, they're always smiling, always goofing off, and it's lovely. And Coach K definitely helps setting that precedent. And so with that, Coach Nate is going to have a lot to work with because his team is going to be really good to communicate with and understand. And that's going to allow just things to go so smoothly. And it also gives Coach K a break because she also does a lot more stuff around here. And I think she definitely deserves
it. Our coaches work very hard, and they deserve all the extra help. And so do our teams, because our teams having the ability to have more resources at their fingertips is exactly what we want. Every year we want to build up, grow our skills in every single facet. And, we worked a lot on our community and how we talk and how we think about the games. And now we're going into that technical side and really going to build that up. And I think that'll be a really interesting experience and something that, compared to some of our other teams here at the arena, hasn't been as much the case for the Smash Bros. Players. So I think it'll be a really positive change. But one thing to highlight, too, is if you are wanting to see additional skills for your game, better ways to play, then you really need to know the keys to the game and how to best play Smash Bros.
We've had Doc's keys for a long time now, and they continue to come back because of how important they are. In Super Smash Bros, you gotta play the ledge, protect your shield, know when to camp, and roll to dodge. We see these getting executed every single time that our players play Super Smash Bros, and they continue to show how important they are.
Yeah, and with that, Doc's keys to the game are brought to you by Blue Ribbon Painting. With over 90 years of combined experience, they are proud to be Boise's go-to team of local, multi-generational painters who know how to level up your home. Visit blueribbonpainting.net.
Now, looking at these keys, I think the one that I think is the most interesting has to be the protect your shield, because from the outside, it looks like that never gets applied, because I very rarely see any players from any team using their shield. But when they do, they always got the full shield. I don't think I've ever seen a shield get broken in any Smash game that I've watched, which could just be survivorship bias in unfortunate circumstances. But in a way, I like to imagine that's just because these players know how important it is to keep their shield up, not use it every single time they get attacked, and know how to either dodge or retaliate with their own attack, stun, anything like that. They know how to use their different resources to their advantage, and that just shows how important that key is specifically, because I feel like the shield, it's just kind of when you don't got any other options, you just got to tank it sometimes.
I appreciate that is your favorite of the keys on that, because that was mine. Really? I added that to the list. Yeah, the casters and the players, we were talking about different keys to the game to highlight. And I pointed out protect your shield. I thought it sounded funny, because that kind of sounds like the opposite of what you want to do with a shield. But one of the most fatal and painful things that you will ever see in a Smash Bros. Game is someone who runs out of shield and gets stunned and just has to stand there and watch as they get knocked out by a powerful attack, because that's almost always, especially in competitive, a guaranteed knockout. So shield is, like you said, not a resource you see used often, but there's a reason, because you protect it for when it truly matters. And, of course, you have to be careful not to get grabbed by a random Donkey Kong who's then going to throw you into the ground and launch you into the air afterwards, but you still want to protect that shield and keep it as your back pocket, oh no, resource.
Look, I promise I wasn't trying to suck up to you by mentioning that was my favorite. It just so happened it was one I hadn't seen before, and I didn't know you added that to the list, so it's just ironic circumstances, if you will. But now I'm going to pretend like it was to make myself look better and impress you, because I am way cooler than Bryce ever was, and that's why I'm here.
I see. You're trying to keep your spot on the desk here. That's what I'm hearing.
I am trying to keep my spot on the desk. Maybe I want to cast with my friend every once in a while.
Maybe
I've been here for like
happen.
a year and a half, maybe, and this is the first time I've ever casted with you.
That is true. We have yet to ever sit on the stage together. At this point, I thought you were avoiding me.
Well, it's funny, because I did everything in my power to get up on this stage earlier. We had this whole bit planned, me and Bryce and all of the other coworkers, all of management. I had communicated this with everybody. Where one of these Thursdays last semester, I was going to take over Bryce's spot and not tell you about it. I was just going to show up. I was going to hit him with a fake chair, or he was going to look at his phone and be like, "My house is on fire," and run away at max speed while I just take over in his spot. And you'd have no idea. But literally every single possible thing that could have went wrong. And so we couldn't do the bit. But now, well, it worked out in the long run, because now I'm here and Bryce isn't, because, I don't know, I never asked him.
How do I know that you didn't hit him with a steel chair still? Tell me that.
Why should I?
I haven't seen Bryce in a while.
I haven't either.
All right, so anyway, the matchup, yeah. Hopping into this matchup, we have seen both of these teams go against each other previously. Last time around, Nebraska was able to get the upper hand, so this will be a good spot for the Broncos to kind of ease into their new roster setup and just figure out what they want to do. We're going to be jumping into our very first matchup, which is going to be Mata on Pikachu up against a Pyramithra, a battle of a very interesting one I actually haven't seen in a while. Pikachu, fast, quick, has some ranged options, but very good at getting up in your face and being annoying, whereas Pyramithra is kind of that dual character switch up. Pyra being the character that we aren't seeing on screen is a heavy hitter, and Mithra being a fast, quick, speedy attacker. So essentially it's Pyramithra. Mithra is kind of like Pikachu, and then can swap out of that. So Pikachu is always contending with different variables. As we already hopping into this battle, though, we are seeing pretty similar percentages, not quite any advantage in the game just yet.
Considering in a way that both of these characters have a similar playstyle, of course, Mithra specifically, not Pyra, it is making sense that they'd want to stick with Mithra while going up against Pikachu, but now, at this point, they switch to the Pyra in an attempt to try and switch things up, but the moment they do, they get tossed off the edge. Mata goes in for the ledge guard and goes in for that grab. Oh, but protected by the DI. That is incredible.
Yeah. One big thing, of course, to be careful of for Pikachu is once you get up into those higher percentages, Pyra's attacks will be more of a knockout. They hit so hard, and we can see that here, going for that grab, looking for that combo, throwing off ledge. Mata being very careful on the recovery, though, knowing that one stray hit could be dangerous here. Great block! And counterattack is going to be exactly what the Broncos need to take the first stock.
That was a great way to start off tonight, just showing off with a fantastic block. You know, you got to know when to use the shield, and that was the prime example.
The prime example of using your shield.
If Mata didn't have their shield, then they wouldn't have been able to do that incredible spectacle. So you know what? This just further proves your point.
So all I'm hearing is I'm already winning with my suggestions for the keys to the game. Perfect. Good to hear it. But yeah, jumping back into the matchup, of course.
Wow,
another stock is knocked out and from both sides. We do have to be careful of that. But staying this close is always good for both players, especially for the Broncos who had some issues in the past. Being able to keep up with the opponent is invaluable here, and looking for those slight advantages at like we saw in the previous stock loss for Nebraska. And right now, Mata is starting to pull away actually here with Mythra being on the ropes a little bit.
That read was crazy. Knew exactly where she was going to go and knocked her out of the air. Unfortunately for Mata, they were able to stay and survive, but of course, right as I say that, they got knocked out.
You say poor Mata, and then, of course, Mata gets the knockout, but that's a,
I happen to say things, and then it always goes the opposite way the moment I say them. Unfortunately, it went in the way of our
It's called the Caster Curse. Have you heard of it?
No, I actually haven't.
Oh, well, now you know. The Caster Curse is exactly what it sounds like. You think you know exactly what you're talking about, and then it's wrong. But that's okay, because, you know, a lot of times, it's something like that, but not in how I was hoping, as I was about to say, you know, Mata will get the knockout. Unfortunately for us, it's going to be 2-2
But the Caster Curse applied, because then Mata got knocked out.
Exactly.
You should have known better.
I should have known better. This is why we should never speak on the match. Totally. That's how that's supposed to work. Getting back into this matchup, though, something I do want to highlight is going to be some of that hybrid behavior that you have to be careful of. And one notable funny thing I want to call out is the Pyra Mythra skin currently. Doesn't factor in with many characters. But for Pyra and Mythra, as we're looking for a potential knockout on the Thunder,
gracious.
Not even going to matter. Not even something we have to be worried about. Mata knows who they're fighting. You know, I don't actually normally see the Thunder get a knockout like that, so I wasn't even expecting it. I am so happy to actually see that. Mata coming in for the win there. One stock left, able to knock out Mixwell on the Pyra Mythra.
I think I blinked and Pyra Mythra was just gone.
Yep,
they were just gone. And I had no idea what was happening.
It was funny. I was like, what hit them? And I was like, oh my gosh, Thunder from the Pikachu. What I was going to call out is normally Pyra is red and Mythra is yellow. But on that particular skin, Mythra is red, and it throws people off.
Yeah, it was throwing me off. I didn't want to correct you because I figured you were right. But I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Why is this person this person? So I just went along with it.
Yeah, no, hey, good job. You committed to it, and that works.
Thanks.
But that matchup is done. The Broncos have been able to get it out of the way and continue forward. Now going into our next matchup.
Can I bring up a very important detail that I'm already noticing?
Yes.
Both players have the word super in their name.
That's a great point.
What kind of implications could this have in the next matchup?
I think many.
Many
Implications that we'll have to go into in a moment. But first, we can start with the characters and see if any super implications appear.
Implications.
Exactly. Olimar versus Joker. Not a matchup I think I've actually seen. I'm trying to think if I've seen this matchup. At least not often, but I'm actually kind of excited for this. Joker's whole mechanic is centered around his persona, Arsene. As he takes damage and over time he builds up a bar and then his persona appears. He's not very strong until Arsene appears, and as soon as Arsene is out on the field, you don't want to get hit by Joker, and the goal is to try and wait it out. Olimar is a character that does a lot of chip damage over time.
I was about to bring up that was being my concern, is hitting him just a couple little bits of damage over and over again. It's going to build up the Arsene really fast.
Because the biggest thing you want to do with Joker is you want to deal a lot of damage at once and knock Joker out before they ever get the chance to actually use their Arsene. So I feel like this matchup, it's not one-sided because Olimar has a lot of tools to deal with Joker. Joker is a very interesting character, and Supersonic is used to having weird matchups. So if this is anything like that Supersonic would consider a weird matchup, he's not going to be super worried in that way. There will definitely be concerns. But I think the big thing here is just the uncanniness of Arsene versus Pikmin.
Mm-hmm. I think what I'm expecting to see is one of the things we know Olimar for is cycling through his Pikmin, trying to get the best one for the specific scenario. I think we're going to be seeing even more of that than usual, because the one that's going to apply the most to Supersonic in this scenario is the purple Pikmin. It's the one that does the most damage, most knockback. That's the one you're going to want to use. And like if he uses the red Pikmin, it's going to deal fire damage. That's just going to build up the Arsene faster. So I'm expecting to see a lot of Pikmin get thrown off the edge and favor simply the purple ones, just so you can actually get that damage without getting punished by the Arsene afterwards.
Another notable call-out will always be blue Pikmin, for the fact that the mechanic of blue Pikmin is it actually makes your throws better. And so another good way to get rid of a Joker is to throw up, because the recovery is so good for the ledges, because Joker just throws a knife with a rope and can kind of just hang there. Great recovery. It's really hard to get Joker off left or right. You can do it, but you need to have a lot of damage on them. Being able to throw up removes that issue. And so I would not be shocked if we also see some of that as well, and blue Pikmin just makes that better, typically speaking.
I hope Supersonic either already knows this or is listening, because
absolutely.
That's the
He's
best
the one who
piece
told me.
Oh, okay. That makes me feel really excited for this, actually. He knows. Not that I was saying he didn't know.
I would hope he would know his character.
I know he knows his character. I know he's great at his character. If I ever hopped on Super Smash Bros. And was like, hey, we should 1v1, I would be gone in like 3 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
There would be zero contest. I played a little bit of Super Smash Bros.
I have too, but
he is like, he would smoke me in an instant.
I've never once been like, yeah, I'll play in a tournament, because I know exactly what would happen to me, and it would be I'd be straight to the losers brackets and then the loser brackets, and then probably just continue down, because all of the players, both in our team as well as this community, are very, very skilled. And
I have a solution. We should fight each other.
You know what? Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
I
barely know the controls, so on and well.
You know what? Close enough. That's fine. My controls have Joy-Con drift, so I think we'll be fine. Yeah.
It'll be an even matchup.
It'll be an even matchup, yeah.
Which is what I'm hoping to see right now for this second round. Olimar versus Joker, the two super people going up against each other. I think it was Supersonic and Super 6733, if I'm not mistaken. Starting things off, we are definitely seeing the Joker using a lot of his gun, which obviously we know him to use his gun.
Yeah, we're looking at the button test here.
Yeah, I almost caught myself,
you're
but you
great.
beat me to it.
Good. Yeah, once we see the taunting begin, we know the match is actually going to begin. Both players need that really technical setup. What?
I'm just analyzing. We're trying to get analysis about their names being super. Oh, we're seeing Supersonic throwing the game. What? Never in a million years would I have expected that to happen.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So anyway,
we got a round 2. It's gonna go great this time. It was actually the fake round, and I lied to all of you to your faces, even though I can't see anyone's faces out here. I can only see your face and my face.
It's true.
But I lied to you.
And Supersonic's face on screen.
That's true. He's right there.
As you can see, he's still in the chair. Therefore, we're good.
Oh yeah, he's locked in right now.
Yep,
I see.
He is.
Oh yeah. Now we're about to start. Oh, very aggressive start. Already smacking 8.8% damage onto Supersonic.
Yeah, going for those close hits off the beginning. Joker has a lot of close-ranged abilities, and that is their primary function until, of course, Arsene gets in, and that's what we're going to be watching. Big thing that is going to be rough for Supersonic there, trying to get Pikmin and find the right Pikmin and throw your Pikmin a little hard when someone's up in your face punching you. But we can see here, battle of the recovery. Both of them have room, but not enough. Supersonic is going to be forced to fall off the ledge, and that is going to be the first stock of the round. That is probably the big danger we didn't highlight earlier, was just the off-ledge game. Both of these characters have capabilities with it, and if one character gets iced out of the recovery, that's going to be the end.
Good comeback, but now Arsene is here, and he's got to play things very carefully. Doing his best to dodge around, but unfortunately gets caught by the grab. Oof, some damage is being placed right now, up to 65% now, but he did manage to land a fire Pikmin when we weren't looking. Now he has the Joker up to 111%.
Oh, there's the
throw! Just as you called it.
And with that, we are going to see a little bit of a closing of the gaps here, though. We're not out of the woods yet. Broncos still have to be wary here, as the current percentage difference does make some dangerous moves here on the ledge. Throwing a Pikmin while in the air is going to create a little bit of space for Supersonic here, but Super is ready and running back, getting control of that ledge again and forcing the ledge fight, throwing Supersonic back into the air.
Oh, he's able to dodge the Joker's attempts to knock him off the edge. Deals a little bit of damage in retaliation. A good throw with the purple Pikmin. Ooh, but the Arsene is nearly charged up. Things are going to be really rough.
And there it is. Arsene is out once again. However, we have seen Supersonic prevail through this time, so we will have to be wary, but enough damage is on the board for the Broncos to be knocked out.
The curse. You were saying he's made it through and then he got knocked out. This is your fault, actually. I'm blaming this entirely on you.
That's fine. I accept this. But we're not out of the woods yet. Supersonic trying to dodge that damage. This is what we were talking about with Arsene. It was 31% on one hit. It's just nasty if you can avoid it. Luckily, however, it is finally gone. The Broncos can regain some momentum here and gain some control back. Looking for that opportunity here.
Blows being traded back and forth. Percentages are getting pretty close. Use that Pikmin as a... I was almost going to say human shield, but I guess it's a Pikmin shield.
It's a Pikmin shield, yeah.
Exactly. You know, protect your shield also means protect your Pikmin.
Correct, and that is a big deal. And luckily for Supersonic, there's not as many ways for Super on Joker to get rid of the Pikmin without really having to try. Now,
he's doing some pretty good chip damage right now. If he's able to take him out before that Arsene meter goes up all the way, it's going to work really well in his favor.
Yeah, we see that here. Supersonic looking for the setup for that exact knockout, wanting to get any hits off. Notably, some of those Pikmin have been in his pocket for a little bit, making them just a bit stronger and a bit scarier to contend with, something that Nebraska most certainly can see with Arsene back on the field.
He's dodging
their
like
best.
Crazy.
Yeah, using the shield to avoid any flames is a big deal.
Sideswipe.
And Joker, luckily far enough on the other side of the map to not be knocked out, but that is a premonition of what's to come as the Broncos are able to bring it 1-1. Now Supersonic at over 100% needs to find some very careful picks here to get the knockout. Exactly.
Sorry. I felt taking over for Bryce, so I got to make the stupid puns every once in a while.
It's true. I'd start missing him if it didn't happen. Now, looking at that ledge game once again, this is an area where knockout is possible for the Broncos, and Nebraska knows that, trying to take an opportunity. Great parry there, avoids any potential damage from that, and now back on the ground. Going head-to-head here, though. Arsene on the field complicates things. Great shield to avoid major damage. Supersonic now trying to find that opportunity. And Nebraska as well.
Scary.
This is the knockout that defines the game. If the Broncos are able to find this, they take the lead. But Nebraska is able to even the score out here and deny the Broncos a continued lead in this game. However, this is a great back and forth, I feel like, for a matchup.
That was some incredible gameplay out of Supersonic. I loved seeing him. He used more of the Pikmin than I originally anticipated, and it ended up working out very well for him. Obviously, I don't know how to play Olimar. I just say what I see, and he knows how to play Olimar. So him doing something I wasn't expecting is no surprise to me at all. But even then, I'm still like, wow, he was able to play Olimar very, very efficiently. Unfortunately for him, this Joker was just absolutely insane. And
there is when you're playing like a low damage character that really has to do chip damage, it is definitely a struggle to go up against Joker, because Arsene, that is what Arsene is made for, is going after characters like that. But it is still a really good sign to see that these teams are currently tied. Oftentimes we've seen in the duel format, especially for the Broncos as they've gone up against many tough opponents, is an eventual lag behind that we are not seeing in this current matchup, which I think is a great thing for the future. However, we are going to get into our next matchup here, seeing a bit of a mix-up, as we've talked about, you know, having Clear join us on the stage tonight. We've got Ness versus Bayonetta, which is another combo I have not seen in some time, but I'm also all here for, because they're both interesting characters. Ness as a character is another kind of chip damagey kind of style. Ness, coming from an RPG, has a bunch of different abilities. All of those abilities do different spells, so you'll hear, you know, the classic PK Fire a lot.
Don't say that. It's traumatizing.
Well, guess what you're about to hear constantly. I'm just preparing you.
You're right.
It's exposure therapy. And with that, we're then going to be seeing, of course, Bayonetta. Bayonetta having such an absurd combo of moves that you will be on the ground and then suddenly up in the air, gone off the stage, because Bayonetta did a little flip-a-dip and then suddenly has brought you up, down, left, right into the air. And that's kind of Bayonetta's shenanigans. Bayonetta also has a couple hard-hitting abilities, as her whole gimmick is using her hair to create spells. You do have to worry about those, but generally speaking, it's those quick combos that can be nasty. And, of course, this is both of the characters have pretty solid recovery, which means the ledge, not as scary until we get to high percentages.
I feel like all we gotta hope from Clear is that he knows exactly how to go up against someone like Bayonetta so he can avoid getting hit by those crazy combos.
Yeah. The interesting thing is you don't see Bayonetta a ton, so it's a character matchup that will be strange, and we're already seeing what Bayonetta loves to do, which is launching you into the air. Ness has to be careful. Oh, but getting slowed down is dangerous. That is another one of Bayonetta's spells. It's not always pulled off, so you have to be careful, but good ledge opportunity there from the Broncos, able to avoid getting hit too hard.
Ooh, the slowdown hit, but he's just barely able to avoid any damage out of the Bayonetta. Supplying a little bit of damage in response. Has almost double the damage meter that the Bayonetta has, though. It's a rough place to be, especially with a flurry of blows like that, taking down our first stock.
I think another similar thing to call out is Bayonetta is just such a close combat fighter that it's not something Ness is quite expecting to deal with, and we can see that was what I was talking about. And that is just a hard thing to contend with, especially with a character like Ness. Trying to find those opportunities, though, Nebraska is using their shields wisely to avoid damage and get those grabs. You see it right here. Knocking Ness into the air, trying to find an opportunity. The Broncos able to dodge their way out of getting launched into the air this time around, however.
Clear doing his best to fight back, but man, this Bayonetta is just constantly on him, trying to deal as much damage and get a good opportunity to use those combos. Fortunately, a good grab almost takes her down.
Oh, looking for the big boy attack, but it's not able to quite aim in the direction that Clear wants it to. But getting the grab off, almost able to do it, and now getting the double combo. This is another thing we see from Ness, is using those to keep your opponent off the ledge. Unfortunately, not able to keep Bayonetta gone for long, and going for the PK fire, trying to use the opportunity. There goes the knockout. Had to work hard for that one, but Clear found it.
It's a really sketchy place to be, and up at 78% while your opponent still has 2 stocks with no damage meter at all.
Oh!
What was that?
Short people for the win there. Ness dodging that with just standing there.
This is why we need to appreciate our short kings, guys.
True and real, though now we need to watch out on the ledge guard here. Able to avoid it, but does get grabbed and thrown. That's going to be a rough spot. Trying to avoid any attacks. Clear gets a good opportunity off and then goes for the Thunder. Able to now find a little bit more breathing room. Nebraska backing off for a moment, but not long enough.
Just the spam. That was so mean.
Yeah. Sometimes they say doing the same thing over time will just lead to insanity, but in this case it is where Nebraska will find their win and take the lead for the first time in this first matchup here. Yeah, Bayonetta is I can see why that was like a tricky setup there for Ness. Just Ness likes to have space. Personal bubble's a pretty big deal, but Bayonetta is all about kicking you with her gun heels and launching you into the air, and so there's not a lot of personal space in that one.
Yeah, I hope to see that things go a little better up in this next matchup, especially just because I think this one's going to be really funky. I mean, everything about Snake, I feel, is really funky. He throws bombs, and he throws more bombs, and he throws more bombs, and it's lovely. I love watching people play Snake. But Link is a little bit more close range. Like, yeah, he's got his bow, he's got his boomerang, he's got his bombs. Like, he has ranged options, but I feel like they're a little bit harder to work with, especially with someone like Snake, who's just always jumping around. He's never in the same place for more than like 0.005 seconds.
The one thing to keep in mind with Link, though, too, is that Link appears to be a less kind of throw everything character, but a lot of times that's what Link likes to do.
Oh yeah, I played Link for a little while.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to watch competitive Link because everyone's like, oh, the bow or the boomerang, the bomb, whatever, but then that's all you ever see. And so I think that's a really interesting thing. And actually, we're going to see one of those basically grenade matchups where it's one character spamming everything and one character spamming the other. The big difference is the firepower, I think, because like the bomb is the only thing that's like really, really painful from Link. On that side, of course, he has his sword. Master Sword isn't nothing.
Well, I think he left the Master Sword at home with this matchup we're about to see. So I wouldn't feel too confident in the fact that the sword will do a lot. Maybe if he ever manages to reach Gokis, who loves running around and not being anywhere near the enemy, that is a possibility. But knowing this lovely player, he's not going to let that happen.
And I mean, Gokis is really big on, he's had a lot of time to work with Snake and generally get used to what he has to do to avoid attacks and dodge around. So I would not be shocked to see that expectation in full swing.
I honestly am expecting him to use a lot of his C4s because I keep watching him, and he's improving on ways to sneak that C4.
Oh, that is one of the hardest things to do, but it is so satisfying.
He's been able to land it a lot recently, and I have a good feeling that he's going to continue to use that against Link, especially if this Link is going to try up and get up in his face. Gokis can only do so much running away, but with that C4, if he's able to hide it, that's going to be exactly what he needs to take this win.
And with that, we're going to jump into the last match of this first round. Whichever team takes this will be able to, going forward, take the first game of this best of 3 here. So this is a very big deal to set the momentum for the rest of the matchups. Now we can see Link already putting on the pressure, throwing out a lot of different attacks, but Goki's finding an opportunity here to gain some more control of the battlefield.
Seeing a little bit of damage being dealt, but a heavy swing onto Goki's now up at 100%. Getting a little bit of chip damage. This is about the second time he's blown up both of them with a grenade. When in doubt, hit each other. Ooh, but unfortunately a heavy side tilt leads to that first stock getting taken down.
Gokis is not deterred yet, though, getting a parry off on the aerial attack there from Link, and now using the stadium to his advantage. The big thing here is just finding that window to get some big damage off onto Nebraska here, and they know that.
I think the scariest part right now is doing some quick math. If Gokis dies at any point, it's game over. This is his last chance to win this team, to get this team to win. But if he dies, then Nebraska wins no matter what. So that's so much pressure being put onto him, more than any of the other players would have experienced there in the past.
It is certainly a big deal, and that's one of the intimidating things about the dual format. But Gokis is aware of that and needs to just continue.
He's dealing some pretty heavy damage to Link. He's been finding ways to dodge, block those bombs. He's doing a good job. Yeah,
Link can gain a lot of momentum, but if you get Link caught in some combos, I mean, both of these characters like to catch you in scary spots, and this time it's going to go to Gokis, finding that opportunity to launch Link into the air. Spinning your sword won't save you from being
blown up.
Blown up, exactly. And now we're going to go back into it, still looking for those opportunities. Goki's getting a grab off, but Link being very careful there is going to get the spin, and that is going to be the knockout as we were talking about.
Still, you want to put up a fight here at the end, show your prowess before the round ends. Hey, maybe he'll still end up winning the round. That'll be a great thing to have in the books.
There's still a lot to learn from every matchup. And like you said, getting the win overall in the matchup is still a good thing. It shows a lot for the team. So as we continue forward here, we can see just watching that ledge game right now, both of them trying to find an opportunity, going for a little bit of a interesting strategy here. Goki's trying to lure Link off edge. Able to do it, but not getting quite as much damage off as he might want to.
Ooh, a sneaky grenade able to knock Link up into the air. Now at 89%, a bomb back and forth. Man, Link is just using all of Snake's abilities against him with that. Did he just dribble a bomb?
Yep.
I have never seen that before. That's a new one to me.
What, did you know they bounce like a basketball?
Not that high. I did not know that much. I played Breath of the Wild. I don't think I could do that.
You just weren't trying hard enough. That sounds like a skill issue.
You're so right. You're so right. I should play Breath of the Wild again and learn if I can do that.
Find out next time. I want to update next week as we continue with the matchups going forward. But looking at where we're at, both are in similar spots, potential knockouts on both sides here. Goki's getting some control with the explosives here on the middle ground, though Link going to send out a bomb as well. Great dodge. That could have been some nasty damage there. Link kind of toying with the edge. Smoothie kind of teasing the Broncos there, like come over and see what'll happen. But both teams not knocked out of the ring yet.
When you mentioned that bomb, you were not kidding. Link's bomb hurts a lot, especially at higher percentages.
Oh yeah, the recoil that it can have. Luckily, in this case, Gokis was able to just throw it out of the ring before it became a problem. the one big downside to Link's bomb is that you need to activate it yourself.
Oh
And
my
it can be
goodness
dangerous.
gracious. I
Link-
think that was your unbottled play of the game, presented by local dairy farm families. Perform, refuel, recover, repeat. Visit unbottled.com to learn more.
You know, I always love moments like that with Link because one of the tricks that you use, as we saw it with Nebraska, is you detonate the bomb to launch yourself back to stage. And if you know that they're going to do that, you can catch them off guard, and Goki's capitalize on that. It's just a great way to end the round. Even if they aren't able to take it, it's like, I know.
That's why I got so excited.
It's intimidation factor, yeah.
It was a little snap decision. He knew exactly what Link was going to do and used it against him. Was able to get another knockout. It was an incredible move. Unfortunately, Boise State did lose this first round, but man, what a way to end it. It makes me so excited for what's going to happen next round.
And compared to previous games, I will say, from like being here on the desk watching these games, those were closer matchups than the Broncos have seen in previous times with Nebraska. The Broncos have been able to take, games, and it has been a lot of back and forth throughout the season. But I would say 2 back-to-back strong games is something that they have been looking for, because it's not only for like the momentum of the dual system, but also just your ability to throw off your opponent. And so I think being able to do that is such a great showing, and we'll have to see if they can continue to capitalize on that. But before that, we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back with the next match.
Life happens. Lucky for you, ICCU has a new kind of checking account that comes with benefits that help you life better. Because being human is a full-time job.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. It's finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great. Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
My friends know me as Derek, but I'm also Master Sergeant Raxter. This is my life in the Air National Guard.
It's me, your Idaho Central Credit Union app. Rough morning. Is that a mobile deposit? I got this. Beat it, Charlie. We're making money moves here. Cha-ching. And done.
Charlie, come on, outside.
Sorry about the mess. I'd help if I had hands. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Since you guys have been in here, some things have changed. We've updated this place to be in its final form. New cabinets, new counters, all sorts of new stuff in here. This has turned into a place that wouldn't look out of place at an SEC or Big Ten football facility, and Dairy West has allowed us to have it here. We've taken a holistic approach to our player nutrition, and we're really thankful that Dairy West has made sure that our fueling station is the best in college esports and really at industry standard for any college athletic department.
Hello and welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Boise State Broncos versus the Nebraska Cornhuskers as they look to see if the game will be ended in this next match or if the Broncos can pull through and bring it to Game 3. Continuing to call all the action, my name is Audrey Norris, joined by AJ Pepley as we get ready for this next matchup. Now, with what we saw, the big question, of course, going into this matchup is what we'd like to see go differently for the team. You know, different matchups, different characters. Anything that in particular that you'd be excited to see or you just want to see in general?
Honestly, what I'm seeing with Nebraska is they are very comfortable in where they're sitting with their character picks. I wouldn't be surprised if they were pretty conservative with their choices. Like, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they had other options, but they seem like the kind of team who would just stick with what they're good at and use it in a lot of different scenarios. They can like meld those characters to fitting a lot of different things. But that depends on what we see from our team, because if our team decides to switch things up and play different players, then that gives Nebraska occasionally, depending on who's first in terms of picking, the option to counter with something else. So if one or both of the teams are going to stick with their usual picks, then we're likely just going to see similar matchups in terms of players than last time.
Yeah, and something to call out once again, Mata is the player of the year for Mountain West 2025 Super Smash Bros. We've got the official art to showcase this time, so of course we're going to brag again, but, you know, with such a, awesome award on the team, I think, another reason why we might see some awesome things in this matchup. But I do agree with what you're talking about. I think that comfort that Nebraska has right now is something that needs to be shaken up a little bit going forward.
Well, we'll see how much shaking we can do. Maybe we'll get a couple maracas over there with our team, and they can just go crazy on them. I mean, in a way, we have all these cowbells out in the audience, and we actually have some people sitting here now. So maybe the cowbells will be the shaking that we need.
And I mean, hey,
it's possible.
Hey, we don't want to act like crowd participation and crowd excitement doesn't contribute to a game. One of the biggest things we always call out, especially when we get into tournament season, is just that impact. So hey, we'll have to see if we, in this next matchup, see any difference, but it does look like we're going to see a character swap up here.
We're actually seeing a player swap. We now have Starmies going up against their Joker.
Yeah, Starmies is going to be going up against the Joker with... Why am I blanking on her name? Rosalina, there we go.
How dare you? And
I'm
she's
so
showing
sorry.
up in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and you don't even know. This is tragic. Not as tragic as that takedown. Actually, no, it's an equal tragedy.
Yeah. This is going to be a different matchup for sure. Rosalina has a lot more variety in her kit for what she does. Her range isn't necessarily as limited, but she does have, some close range and longer range spells. She does like to do her little flip move, as we keep seeing. And so, the big thing is Arsene is going to continue to charge up. But there is a bit more tinkiness, too, with this character, comparatively speaking. And we are going to see the Broncos able to use that to their advantage and get this first knockout on their side, bringing it even, as we saw in the previous first matchup.
I think having Starmie switch over to fight their Joker was a good move, because having someone like Rosalina who can hit just a bit harder than Olimar consistently can. She's a little less chip damage, in fact, a lot less chip damage. And so that'll have that gives them a good opportunity to avoid Arsene. Yeah. Unfortunately, it seems Joker is very malleable, like I mentioned earlier, and he's able to find ways to use the gun and other projectiles more often to fight against Rosalina. But even then, even with the Arsene coming out, we see that Starmies is still doing his best to fight back.
Getting to that recovery on ledge is a big deal, and creating some control, trying to deny Arsene any potentials.
Off the map.
Yep, that's exactly what you want to see, and we still are going to get that recovery because, it's Joker, but that has wasted a good almost 2/3 of the bar of
entire
Arsene.
Thing is pretty much gone.
And that's exactly what you want to see if you are Boise State.
That was a great place to be, completely using Joker's entire skill set against him, and is able to survive throughout the entirety of the Arsene with little damage. That's a great place to be.
Yeah, going back and forth here, the Broncos still in a bit of a precarious spot. That fire does hurt, and that's something we're seeing a lot more in this matchup compared to the previous Joker matchup, but undeterred, looking for that opportunity here. Being on ledge could create an opportunity, but great shield from the Huskers here, avoiding what could have been the knockout. And now the Broncos need to be careful here, or they might get hit too.
Oh, the grab into, was that a suplex? That happened so fast I couldn't even tell.
It's a little flip over the side, yeah. Nasty throw.
Kinda.
Enough to get the knockout here. Nebraska now in the lead, but not by much. If they get too eager, this could be a perfect opportunity for Starmies to get that knockout.
I think he just needs to land 1 or 2 good heavy hits or tilts, and he will be able to take Joker out. One good hit and another one with the little star friend. What do they call it? Blanking. You can make fun of me because I made fun of you for...
It's okay. I don't remember either. I was hoping we would mention it, and I could maybe look it up.
Lumi, yes, yeah. Lumai.
Luma,
wow,
yes.
My broadcast lied to me. Straight to my ears, not my face. Hold on, I was not paying attention. Did they both just fall and
Yes.
Joker went with him?
Correct.
But just barely able to survive going
Correct.
off the screen to keep that second stock.
Yep. Correct.
That's mean. Like, I feel like I'm in a good place to say that's mean. Does that make sense? Is that mean? Is that a mean thing to do? Or do I just feel sad because Luma just got taken out?
It doesn't often happen because a lot of times you want to be in a good, comfortable position where you don't fall off the stage with your opponent, especially Joker. Joker's not typically the character you do that with. If anyone, it's Donkey Kong who grabs you and jumps off the side, or a different character. Bowser would do it as well. The big thing right now is just that if you can manage to avoid getting your stock knocked out and knock out the other opponent, you're going to do that, especially in this format. You know, in normal games, it's whatever. In this game, it does matter because every stock is a point and every victory is a point. So the more stocks you can keep from your opposing team, the less points you'll see, which is why currently Nebraska is at 4 and the Broncos are at 1.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can see that number go up just a little bit more in our favor as we see the same matchup as last round, except not in
much
matchup
earlier.
number 2. It's now in matchup number 2 instead of matchup number 4.
Yeah.
This is an interesting thing because now Gokis has had this chance to fight against this Link. Know what he does, know that he really loves to prioritize that bomb above most other things, and that will give him the chance to improve. And so hopefully with that, we'll see a little bit of a shake-up. Maybe the cowbells. We have a cowbell up here, I guess. But that's what the audience is for.
Yeah, and we have found some momentum in that near the end of that matchup, Snake versus Link. So I think that is a good place to just continue that mentality forward for Gokis. Though the other good thing too, I feel like, is having this matchup earlier. With that, there is an opportunity here to create some more stability for the Broncos. Gokis' minimum goal is obviously, take the game. But if that isn't possible, just due to the nature of how this can go, getting as many stocks off of Link as possible, because keeping those scores as close as possible is the next big, crucial thing for this gameplay going forward. And we're going to jump right into this matchup. We have seen what this looks like. It's projectiles galore, dodge them, don't get hit, but at the same time, hit your opponent with them. So, just be better at dodging.
Either nobody gets hit by a bomb or both of you get hit
Exactly. And most of the time, it'll be the same exact bomb, and one of you throws it and gets hit by your own bomb.
I mean, that's just kind of how Snake works as a character, and it just so happens that Link is able to emulate that as well.
Exactly, and we'll see that more as the match goes. Link trying to read with the bomb there, though, not going to go through, creating a little bit of dangerous space near that ledge that the Broncos have to dodge, but Gokis is able to avoid it.
Ooh, he's able to get a good grenade off, just barely dealing some chip damage to Link here. Puts him in a chokehold behind it. 48, now 52%, slowly dealing damage, but slowly getting that match between their health. Unfortunately, another good bomb off of Link brings Gokis up to 118%. Things are looking rough. Oh, and he knocks himself back up with the grenade. I couldn't tell what was happening there for a moment.
Yeah, we were getting into the danger spots for recovery, and that was a slim chance of succeeding, but able to show just some really good technique there, though getting knocked out in the end. However, not the end just yet. That is only one of 3 stocks to be knocked out here.
So got a lot of time to work and a lot less pressure too. Being the second matchup instead of the fourth one means you're going to have a little bit better of a time not stressing out as much. So I think that should help a little bit too.
Yes. Link not taking much damage so far, using those extra platforms to create space. Both helpful and painful for the Snake player, trying to set up all those projectiles at the same time. Creates a little bit more room, and we do see good kick there, able to increase some damage. That parry, able to avoid that powerful spin attack, something that Link loves to use to either get a knockout or just get extra damage on the board. Now going back towards this middle ground. This could be a potential knockout for Gokis if they can find it, but Nebraska is not going to let that happen. Smoothie is determined.
Oh, he just keeps shooting the bow, and he poor
Oh,
Goki just can't do
sniping from
anything
across the
about it.
map.
How rude. Everyone knows that in a shooter game, the least fun person to go up against is a sniper. This isn't even a shooter game, but Link is doing it anyways.
I was about to say, what are we, in a hero shooter? What's happening
What
here?
are we playing, Overwatch 2? Unfortunately, second stock of Goki's goes down, but he's able to throw the Link right off the stage. Once again, knocks himself back up with the bomb. And unfortunately, Goki's has not been able to read it a second, or I guess that would be the third time now that this has been used. But 158%, one good hit, and Link's first stock goes down.
160% is quite the percentage to be hanging on to, especially with the damage, but we're seeing that slowly being riskier and riskier for Smoothie, trying to find that room. Goki's is honing in on that knockout, but at the same time, the damage is racking up, and the Broncos need to find an answer.
There we go.
And the answer is knock him out and then launch him into the air.
The answer is kicking them really hard in the face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, I mean,
who
it
needs
did
a
work.
sword?
Yeah, exactly. Link uses the primitive weaponry of a sword when you would have bombs and more bombs.
Just hone your body to perfection until your kicks launch people tens of feet in the air, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for Smash Bros. And just also real life, that's insane.
I think Snake is learning from Bayonetta, honestly.
That's
Bayonetta's all
so
about kicking
true.
people. And that's what he's doing. He's kicking people, and it's working.
It is, in fact, working.
Ooh, good grenade placement, but unfortunately it doesn't go off before that combo gets finished. Goki goes down, and that is the second matchup to Nebraska.
I think, unfortunately, Sword might beat Foot by the matchup, but...
Unfortunately, you might have a good point, and as much as I love arguing with you, you do have a point there.
Do I have an iron lock point this time? All right, well,
Sure,
I'll take that. We are going to have to see, that gap in the points is widening. At this point, these next two matches and how they go for the Broncos are going to be very crucial, as too many more points gained in this third match could make Supersonic and Mixwell's match either just barely recoverable or almost impossible. Now, with that, we are going to be seeing Mata versus Arvin, Pikachu versus Bayonetta this time around. Another interesting matchup, but I think one that is more favorable overall, just because Pikachu has a lot more answers for, oh, you're launching me into the air? I'd like to leave now.
Definitely just a lot of zipping around and a lot more close-range combat will definitely help to counter Bayonetta's entire plan of just hitting you with her hair or knocking you into the sky and never letting you see the ground ever again.
Both of them like to do that, which means both of them are going to have that complement. The big issue for Pikachu is just, I think, the damage difference in those hits. Bayonetta does hit a little bit harder and does have some more powerful attacks that go off faster compared to, say, Thunder, as we talked about. But we've already seen one really good Thunder knockout this game, and Mata is very strategic about placing those, so I would not be shocked if that causes Arvin to sweat a little bit here. Bayonetta could be launched if not careful.
Hey, I'd be
hanging out in the air just puts you closer to the knockout box.
I'd be sweating if I was going up against the Mountain West 2025 Super Smash Bros. Player of the Year. All I'm saying.
You aren't wrong. You aren't wrong. I'd be
never
sweating
wrong.
too because...
Ever.
We'll test that later.
Okay. Is it going to be like how we're testing if I actually know how Breath of the Wild works and that you can actually dribble bombs really hard? Is that where we're going with this?
Perhaps. We'll figure that one out after.
But we got a game to watch.
Exactly. We have a game to watch.
You're throwing me off. You're distracting.
You're throwing me off.
Nuh-uh.
Anyway, Boise State versus Nebraska. Goki's versus Arvin. Bayonetta versus Pikachu.
There's a lot happening already, and it's hard for me to keep track of.
Well, that's what we're going to be watching over and over and over
Yeah,
again. The speed at which both these characters move is insane and so much fun. I already looking for those potential advantages. Mata laying on the damage already. Great spot to be if you're Pikachu. The tail attack, I think, is going to be a big deal, too. It creates a little bit of a protective radius and still does damage, and seeing those sparks go out as well.
The sparks are very good chip damage, just slowly taking a little bit out of Bayonetta's damage meter, and a lot of the shield is getting used, more so than we usually see, but it's working out. We just got to hope it doesn't backfire like we talked about with the key, and here comes that combo. But fortunately, they were able to avoid getting knocked off the stage. Oh, why did I say that? It's the curse. Audrey, the moment you mentioned the curse starts to apply more than it usually does.
That's just what it happens, but
this is your fault.
we're not out of this yet. Bayonetta is still high in percentage, and Mata is fiending for that. We can see going off stage here. This is a dangerous spot. Bayonetta has good recovery, but Pikachu is not going to let that happen. 2-2 for the Broncos here.
Balancing things out. We see a lot of back and forth starting things off already. Mata in the lead right now. Bring Bayonetta up to 44%. Right as I say that. We just got to hope another big combo doesn't get knocked onto poor Mata here, because that was the biggest damage of last round.
100%, and now
Actually,
almost at 100%.
they're not at 100%.
Thank you. You know, I knew you were going to say that as soon as I decided to open my mouth. We are at 100% now.
That's 105%. Thank you very much. We see Mata in a really good spot right now, continuing to deal little bits of damage, up to 124% right now, nearly knocking Bayonetta off the stage, hoping to win this matchup. Just 1 or 2 more big hits will be everything they need to keep this going in their favor. Unfortunately, here comes another combo, but not a lot of damage.
Short, not enough, and that is a great spot. Mata is able to see that, now creating a little bit more momentum.
There
and
we
Bayonetta,
go.
too high in percentage to do anything about that headbutt.
That's
Broncos
stock number 2.
now finding that momentum. Watch out, Bayonetta, because Mata is after that last stock.
Who will win? A lady who can control time, make really big fists with her hair, or a rat with lightning powers?
I mean, hey, the rat with lightning powers has fought multiple different Pokemon gods.
That's true. You got a good point there.
And this is also Pikachu in the Luchador outfit. You know, this Pikachu is ready to brawl.
Ooh, but speaking of brawl, lots of heavy hits coming from Bayonetta. That balances things out 1-1 yet again. One more stock taken out, and that will be the end of this matchup. All of their skills being brought to this one moment.
And the big thing here is who gets the next knockout. As previously mentioned, the Broncos need these points. If they can find them, they'll be able to bring it closer. But this is a dangerous position here, and Nebraska knows it. They have a little more room to work with than Mata does, and Mata needs to be very careful with this last stock. Dodging and weaving between the attacks and looking for that grab, able to knock Bayonetta off the side. And now Arvin needs to find a solution or get trapped and knocked out.
Oh, what was that?
No!
That is the craziest.
The spike.
The spike. I was not mentally prepared
I mean, it's
for
not
that.
quite a spike, but it is an attack.
I think it counts if you heel kick this poor rat into
close enough
the depths of the Super Smash Bros. Universe. That was... Oh, and with that, that does unfortunately seal the fate for our team. No matter what, Nebraska wins this round. But, like we always say, you still got to show off here at the end. We got Supersonic up against Mixwell. You got to show that you belong on this roster. You belong up in this tournament. This is Supersonic's chance to show off for the team up against Mixwell. Back with Pyramithra. I hope they don't use the confusing skin again, because that was really throwing me out the first time around.
I can call it out this time so people know what colors we're looking at. Because there's actually only one other skin that gets worse, and it's what everyone jokingly calls the toothpaste skin. Because then they're both the same color.
That's even worse. Why would
yeah, the trick for Pyramithra is just look at the portraits. The portraits are the best guess you have on which character and then what their moveset is. But if you're not familiar, then good luck trying to figure it out. The big thing for this matchup, and actually what I am excited about, is Olimar has a lot more potential that they can have within this matchup, but at the same time, you have to be careful because Pyra has a lot of really good ways to get rid of the Pikmin. One sweeping attack from Pyra, if there's too many Pikmin in the way, just gone. They will not be able to deal with it. But Olimar is a character that can adapt to that, and Supersonic is familiar with how that can go.
We just got to hope that he's able to use the Pikmin efficiently so he doesn't get caught in those situations. Because if he's able to get into a spot where he's able to throw the Pikmin and land it and he doesn't have to worry about the Pikmin retreating back to him, then that entire point you brought up is completely bust. It doesn't really pose an issue. The issue comes from these characters and these players who are able to so seamlessly dodge the Pikmin because they're able to read it the millisecond that animation plays of him grabbing the Pikmin.
I mean, you can hear the noise.
I know. It's some crazy reaction time. We just got to hope that Supersonic is able to use a little bit of, I feel like, some mind tricks. We're going to need some mind tricks to make this interesting.
I do think one thing we'll also see more is just more Pyra gameplay than we did previously, because Pikachu, being as fast as he is as a character, means that Mithra was a lot more of a necessary character for that, and Pyra will probably come out more. What I'm excited about what that means is Pyra has worse recovery, like infinitely worse recovery than Mithra, which does mean there are ways to catch Mixwell off guard that normally wouldn't have occurred in that previous matchup. You can swap back to Mithra and recover, but it adds an extra step that becomes very infuriating and hard to time. Not that these players can't do it, but it is another variable.
Sometimes that extra level of complexity can really throw off your groove.
There's a reason we don't see Hero often.
It's all about the mindsets. That's a lot of what makes up these games. It's not even just Super Smash Bros. It's any esports. As long as you're in a good mindset, you can make good things happen. And honestly, I think where Supersonic is sitting right now, since you can't win, which really sucks, that means he can just go for it. No stress, no scary.
You don't have to think about the next point ratio.
Exactly.
You just get to think about specifically the matchup.
You just go for it and you have a good time. And I hope he has a good time, because this will be a really entertaining matchup to watch, and it's going to be really fun. So I think he's going to be able to pull something exciting off, and it's going to be really, really enjoyable for us to watch here at the end.
I agree, and I think it'll be a great time as always, because, you know, Super Smash Bros., regardless of how the game is going, is a fun game to watch. You know, the characters have just so much fun things going on in their kit, the back and forth, and just the different like elements of what is going on is always just a joy to watch, and I'm excited to see it, especially because I think that characters like Olimar are not characters that you see a ton in competitive play. That's just kind of, you know, people would say the meta in Smash Bros, right? I've heard from many players that, like, there is a meta. It definitely impacts the game, but at the same time, it isn't everything if you know how to play the character really well. And Olimar is one of those characters where, you know, Supersonic has put in the time to learn, and so we get a lot of fun watching a character that you don't see on the roster as much actually, like, show up and do some really, really cool stuff.
Hey, can I just say, we didn't see a Steve today. Today is a good day. No Steves.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad that someone called it out, because I was going to say, you know what? At the end of the day, it's not a Steve match.
Because you said it yourself, like, this is going to be a fun match.
Oh, it's the toothpaste skin.
Why would you say that?
I'm sorry.
This is like the 5th time that you've said something and it's
Listen,
gone wrong.
my caster curse is really bad, okay?
I can tell.
So anyway, the portrait on screen right now is Mithra. So whenever it's not that one, it's Pyra. Good luck. I wish you luck. Have fun. Let's jump into this matchup here. So the big thing right now, of course, going to be dodging and looking for those opportunities. Mithra is going to go for a lot of really quick attacks to try and avoid the Pikmin Wrath, but it is not going to happen. As we can see, already Supersonic is launching as many Pikmin as possible, getting that chip damage slowly built up. And then we see Pyra trying to go for those knockouts on ledge with a powerful attack, but able to dodge it. The damage percentage is rough, but there is opportunities here as the Pikmin cycling begins for Supersonic to dish it right back.
Supersonic's doing a great job of dodging these heavy hitting attacks, whether he uses his Pikmin shield or he uses his actual shield or what. He's doing a good job of avoiding this damage. He's able to keep that up. He'll be in a good spot. Oh, and the block into the upswing.
Not enough to get away from that knockout, but great read there on that ledge guard. That is going to be a big deal when dealing with Pyra. And now going back into the matchup, Mithra just heckling as much as possible. Mixwell knows just keep up the persistence so it's harder to cycle the Pikmin. But Supersonic finds a way, able to knock Mithra off the side. And getting a good ledge guard, though, Mithra is able to use just that kind of crazy area attack that they have to avoid too much consequence.
Everything on my screen because I don't want to see it anymore attack.
And that is exactly the type of attack. Now Pyra out looking for those big boy numbers, but nowhere to be found. Supersonic looking for that knockout.
Oh, right back to Pyra, just back and forth, but it doesn't even matter because the first stock goes down from Pyra Mithra. Backing things up to 2v2 yet again. Good amount of damage being piled on, lots of grabs, lots of hits. Unfortunately, it does get retaliated, but even then, a 44% in the first few seconds of this matchup is a good place to be.
Yeah, finding some more momentum here, Supersonic. Reading, great dodge there.
Poor Yellow Pikmin.
That could have been very unfortunate, but you know what? It's okay. Yellow Pikmin did its job. Purple Pikmin here getting a blue Pikmin on screen as well. Just barely avoiding the knockout with the directional influence. And now just waiting out the knockout on ledge.
You got 2 purple Pikmin, and that's what you want to see. He's now in the lead in this matchup. It is close.
Oh, not enough.
Your caster curse is rubbing off on me. This is, I'm calling it. This is your fault. I know I've said it's your fault like 5 times today, but I truly wholeheartedly think this is your fault.
This is fine. I'll accept it. Going into the current ledge situation, able to dodge without getting hit by a bit of fire, avoiding the big spinny blade. Pyra really loves throwing her blade away.
I mean, if I could make my blade hurt really hard and spin really fast, I'd do that too. So I can't really blame her.
Good roll away from the ledge attack, and now to the other side of the stage, really just going back and forth between these spots here. Nebraska trying to find an opportunity. Mixwell able to keep Supersonic away from safety and dry land, straight back up into the air. Now looking for that final read. That is the knockout that Nebraska is looking for to end the match. Having a lot more momentum overall in the second game, Nebraska is going to take the second game, and for this best of 3, that will be the determiner for that. Overall, Nebraska taking both wins.
Great moves from both teams. Nebraska takes the win, but I am still very happy with how our team played today. They have continued to show improvements as time has gone on, and I think having Coach Nate here is really making a difference. I am seeing a lot more dodging, a lot more carefully crafted moves and attacks being played out, and it makes me really excited to see where we're going to go in the future, because I think that we can get even better, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, don't just sit on your laurels, Nebraska. You better watch out. We are preparing and getting ready to go, but at the same time, that's part of the fun, you know, seeing the season-to-season growth of the teams. And as we're making our way to the big in-person tournament, you know, this continuous growth will be a big deal. So I'm excited to see where all of this will go and just to continuously see great matchups. And although, you know, Nebraska gained the momentum in the end, you know, that also goes to show why they are doing so well in the rankings right now. So good job to both teams. Congratulations to Nebraska with the win. And we are excited to continue the Power Esports Conference going forward. What a great first week. And if you're excited to continue to watch matchups, don't worry. We will be continuing to broadcast back and forth for these seasons going forward. And we are going to be having a great time. But as we are getting ready to go, don't worry, we've got some more content for you. So we're going to show you the top 5 plays of the game, and then we're going to have a quick player interview. Of that hybrid behavior that you have to be careful of. And one notable funny thing I want to call out is the Pyra Mithra skin currently doesn't factor in with many characters. But for Pyra and Mithra, as we're looking for a potential knockout on the Thunder!
Doing his best to dodge around, but unfortunately gets caught by the grab. Some damage is being placed right now, up to 65% now, but he did manage to land a fire Pikmin when we weren't looking. Now he has the Joker up to 111%.
Oh, and there's
the throw! Just as
will be more of a knockout. They hit so hard, and we can see that here, going for that grab, looking for that combo, throwing off ledge. Mata being very careful on the recovery, though, knowing that one stray hit could be dangerous here. Great block and counterattack is going to be. That's just what happens, but we're not out of this yet. Bayonetta is still high in percentage, and Mata is fiending for that. We can see going off stage here, this is a dangerous spot. Bayonetta has good recovery, but Pikachu is not going to let that happen. That it can have. Luckily, in this case, Gokis was able to just throw it out of the ring before it became a problem. The one big downside to Link's bomb is that you need to activate it yourself.
Oh
and
my goodness
dangerous.
Gracious. I think that was your unbottled play.
My friends know me as Derek, but I'm also Master Sergeant Raxter. This is my life in the Air National Guard.
Since you guys have been in here, some things have changed. We've updated this place to be in its final form. New cabinets, new counters, all sorts of new stuff in here. This has turned into a place that wouldn't look out of place at an SEC or Big Ten football facility, and Dairy West has allowed us to have it here. We've taken a holistic approach to our player nutrition, and we're really thankful that Dairy West has made sure that our fueling station is the best in college esports and really at industry standard for any college athletic department.
It's me, your Idaho Central Credit Union app. Rough morning. Is that a mobile deposit? I got this. Beat it, Charlie. We're making money moves here. Cha-ching. And done.
Charlie, come on, outside.
Sorry about the mess. I'd help if I had hands. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Life happens. Lucky for you, ICCU has a new kind of checking account that comes with benefits that help you life better. Because being human is a full-time job.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. It's finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great. Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Hello and welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we get ready to cap off the Boise State Broncos and Nebraska Cornhuskers game with a quick player interview to just go over some of what happened, talk about stuff and get ready for the coming semester as we look forward to games through the rest of this season. Calling all the action, my name is Audrey Norris and I will be getting the pleasure of interviewing Mata to talk about everything going on. Now, as we start, we've already called it out once, twice. We got to do it 3 times. I, first of all, want to start by congratulating you for becoming the Mountain West Super Smash Bros. Player of the Year for 2025. That's an awesome accomplishment to be able to have and just goes to show, I would say, of like many of our players, you've been a very solid person in our roster, and so that's such a great accomplishment to be able to have.
No, I appreciate it for sure because I put in a lot of work. I mean, the whole team did. I feel like the bounce back we had last semester was a team effort, but I know for sure, like personally, I'd been putting in a lot of work, so it's really an honor to get that recognized, I guess, by folks outside of the Boise State community, Boise State system. So
yeah, we always love to be able to see when that is, and I think that's part of the fun of having those players of the year. We get to showcase that. So going into the PEC and this matchup, this is the first matchup of the season. Nebraska, you were mentioning to me that they, have gotten to the finals before, so they are a tough competitor. Going into this matchup, what were some of the big, nervous points for the team?
I mean, every time we fight Nebraska, the highlight of their team is always Smoothie, the Link player. He's definitely by far the toughest player. He plays one of the better characters on their roster as far as online goes. So it's definitely one of those things where it's like we're preparing for everyone, of course, but we're also putting a lot of emphasis into preparing for Link. and trying to figure out how to counter his play style. So as far as preparing for this match goes, a lot of the effort went against Smoothie.
Yeah, I was actually wondering about that because when I saw Smoothie's name, I'm like, oh, I remember this Link player. And like I remembered how intense Link can be as a character, just having so much versatility in the kit. I was surprised to see the Snake counter on that, not necessarily because I was like, oh, I don't think that makes sense. Obviously, you guys would know more than me, but I was just like, that is such an interesting matchup. I'd be curious to hear what the thought process was there.
Yeah, no, Snake, I mean, for one, like, the most important aspect of, like, any pick is, like, who is our player most comfortable with. In that case, with that matchup, it was Snake. The other option was Joker, who's the other character Gogi's plays. But Joker versus Zoners isn't ideal, so when it's like, okay, Gokis needs to fight Smoothie, Snake is going to be the better option since he can keep up with Link's amount of boomerangs and bombs. He can just pull a grenade, toss it over. That's always going to be a really strong option against Link, and he can kind of compete with his buttons too. So it was of the two options we had with Gokis.
I mean, we did see that a lot back and forth, the bombs flying side to side, both of them getting blown up by their own projectiles and each other's, so that makes a lot of sense, you know?
Yeah, no, like you said, I mean, it's a very weird, interesting matchup because neither character is that used to anyone else being able to compete with the amount of projectiles they have, so it's very much a projectile war where they're kind of tossing it back and forth over the stage over and over to see who can squeeze out an advantage in the game. And fortunately, in this case, it went to Link, but it just as easily could have gone to Snake.
It was a very strong back and forth for a while there. It was making me nervous seeing that because there's just so much setup in matches like that. In general, I would say these were some interesting matchups for me personally. Like, I remember calling out multiple times. I'm like, oh, I don't think I've seen this matchup at least only once ever. So is that something that you guys factored in? Is oh, these are matchups we haven't seen, or you guys feel very comfortable with a lot of the characters you faced?
At this point, a lot of the characters are pretty familiar to us, just as competitors, since the vast majority of the team has been playing Smash for a good while now. So matchup unfamiliarity didn't really factor in a whole lot. It was more so just these are the characters we happen to be good with. Those are the characters they happen to be good with. And if it turns into a weird matchup Snake versus Link or Pikachu Aegis or whatever, we'll figure it out as we go and we'll play it out to the best of our ability.
Yeah, well, I think you all played your heart out in that matchup, and I could see just there was so much thought process on how to handle that because, like I said, for matchups, I don't see that often. I'm like, oh, there's very much a reason this happened, and so it's always interesting, and I think that you guys all played super well. Looking into the future, beyond this matchup, we've got the rest of the spring season going forward. What are you guys most excited about?
I mean, honestly, even though we lost today and Nebraska took home the dub, I mean, we had a really competitive set versus them, and like you mentioned, they're one of the powerhouses of the PEC for Smash Bros. So having a good performance versus them is a really good sign of things to come. Yeah, because after that we have University of Michigan, who's another powerhouse, and if we can put a good performance against them or even win, which I think we're completely capable of, then the rest of the semester is going to be really, really promising for us. I mean, we've been on the upswing, at least since I joined the team this time last year. So I definitely think
upward growth,
upward momentum for our team. So I think as far as the spring semester goes, we're hoping to keep that up, go to LANs, put a performance on there as well.
Which I think for Smash Bros is always the most interesting because, as I've joked many times, Smash Bros has two metas. Online and in person, and so I think that's always a extra fun element to be able to see. But with that, is there any final things that you want to call out, shout out for players who played today? Or
no, I mean shout outs to my whole team. Like I mentioned at the start of the interview, they've all been putting in a ton of work, and I think everybody's improving a lot. Shout outs to
we can see them doing it right now.
Yeah, no, exactly. They're grinding. No, shout outs to Clear as well. I mean, he's really adapted well to being oh, I want to be a multi-game player, and he's been pulling it off. I mean, he's been putting in work into Smash as well as obviously Overwatch. He's insanely good at Overwatch, I know, but he's been improving a lot at Smash too. So that's really cool to see. And other than that, shout out to all the coaches, staff, broadcast crew such as yourself at Boise State, making this whole program possible. It's been it's really fun program to be a part of.
Yeah, well, that's awesome to hear. Well, we are excited to continue to watch your games going forward, especially, like you said, it's a promising start against Nebraska. So as someone who's been sitting on this desk watching Smash Bros. For 4 years, this is my final semester of watching Smash Bros. I am excited to see where this goes. So I'm very hopeful, and I want to see where this can go because I would love to be able to, cast the last games with excitement and just seeing all the awesome growth over the time that I've been watching. So with that, I think that's a great note to be leaving on. So thank you so much for joining us on stage to talk about, your guys' experiences and kind of set us up for the future. We'll have to see how the games go forward. But with that, we are going to leave it off for the night. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, we are going to continue to be watching these games. So week to week, check in with us because not only Smash Bros, but Valorant, Rocket League, Overwatch, everything is going to be going. So check in next week as we go into our next matchups. Have a great night, and thank you.